Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and I am running solo tonight. Solo ops, if you will. Ha! Made that joke. All right. I just heard about a third of you tune out, but that's okay. Josh had had some work done on his mouth, so and I have been extremely busy, so I did not call anybody from the fire team to join me. So we're gonna go solo here. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, probably for both of us, and we weren't even supposed to record an episode this week because last week we made the move to every other week, and then Josh posted the Vespers host raid review discussion with Joasis. Joasis, thanks for hanging out and stepping in for that. It's always appreciated to have people that actually do these things on to talk about that kind of stuff, and hopefully someday I'll get back into it. Kids, man, let me tell you, if you ever want sleep and do something creative, maybe don't have kids. I love my kids, I do, but it's hard when you're trying to do stuff like this. So yeah, thanks Josh and Joasis for doing that. And then we were supposed to record Xbox Casuals tonight, but a little bit of news came out this week about Destiny that we should probably talk about. So yeah, man, it has been a week. So a few little housekeeping notes real quick. Like I said, we are going to move Tower Casuals to every other week. That said, I don't know if we're getting an episode, if you're getting this episode next week or an Xbox Casuals next week, because we're kind of doing both today. So it'll be one or the other next week, I guess, because I know Josh wants to talk about the Xbox showcase that happened. So we'll do that at some point. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but for now, also now that we are all the content that I do, we are trying to fold under one banner, kind of verticals under one banner. So Tower Casuals is appearing on my other website, and you're gonna see some of my other podcasts kind of pop up in the podcast channel here on Tower Casuals. We're just trying to expand the audience in both, well, technically all three directions, I guess, right now. So it's going to appear on bossrush.net, which is my website and our community website. These episodes are going to start appearing other places like my I don't know if we're going to put this on the Boss Rush Patreon or not, but yeah, that's still to be decided, but we're just trying to expand our audience in all directions, and I feel like a little cross pollination never hurt anybody. So we're gonna test that out a little bit. It's going well, at least on the website, and obviously the videos on YouTube are kind of doing their thing, and podcast has been doing what it's doing. So on social media, you'll see a lot of cross pollination from both sides, all three sides, I guess, because of my Nintendo stuff too. And yeah, there's going to be a lot going on in the next couple weeks. I'm setting up an interview that Josh, I think, will join me on in a couple weeks as well. Very excited for that. Ex Blizzard and Netflix developer started a kind of like a indie / AA publisher called Midwest Games. Ben Cavallo, you might have heard of him. So I'm trying to set that up right now. They just announced a game at the showcase, The Legend of Baloo. something along those lines. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it looks really cool. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, that there's going to be some cross pollination and cross posting and sharing the wealth and all that kind of stuff. So um, yeah. Anyways, I'm sure you've probably seen it on the podcast art recently. Has made a few changes to kind of match the rest of the podcasts that are kind of within the Boss Rush Media family of shows. So just if you want to check out other video game stuff, you can check those out. And anyways, enough self promotion, because that's not what we do here. I just like to make people aware of other things that Josh and I do. So anyways, let's talk about some of this Destiny stuff. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about solo ops. I know there are quite a few questions about Destiny Rising, which I have a lot of thoughts on. I'm actually really intrigued by this, from a story and lore standpoint. Concerned about the monetization, but uh, yeah, very very interested to see what this is all about. So we'll do that, and then we'll answer questions. I know a lot of these are about the dungeon, um, so I will save those for Josh for another week, probably next week or the week after. Uh, so yeah, let's jump into the solo ops. So one of the things they announced this week, which is half the reason why we're doing a show this week, is uh, solo ops. Solo ops. Uh, are short missions that are easy for lone players to jump into, quick to complete, and fun to replay. They say. Uh, so this will be good for players who are, I guess, are short on time. Maybe they're testing things for Destiny Rising. Maybe they're going to do something there. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what the goal of this is, except for I know a lot of solo players like to maybe jump into stuff by themselves and play. Maybe they've seen the player numbers dip quite a bit and they're trying to give players extra stuff to do. Maybe I'm not 100% sure. So we're gonna go into this. So solo ops are 10-minute missions that can be completed by single players or fire teams. They are low commitment options that still allow you to use challenge customization to make progress towards better gear, and they are built for the experiences to stay fresh across repeated plays. Uh, so let's get into the problem. Why they are trying this out. So over the past few years, we've built the promise of Destiny as a game where you can come together with other Guardians and enjoy the game together. We've built a lot of match-made activities, battlegrounds to Onslaught, and rolled out features like Fireteam Finder and make Fireteam Finder to make it easier than ever to group up with other people. We've watched our community come together like never before, and that's great. Yes, that is why Tower Casuals exists. This is why every single podcast I do exists, is because of Destiny. I just actually made a post on Instagram and threads about it. Like, this is, Destiny is like the crux of why any of this even exists. It's why, we've gone over it 100 times. It's why Josh and I are friends. It's why you guys are all here. Sometimes you want to just jump in to play 10 or 20 minutes and feel like it was worth your time. Right now, your only options for doing so are either put you in direct competition with other players, Crucible or Gambit, or Gambit. When was the last Gambit match that lasted 10 minutes? Or can feel like you're in a race to finish against your own fire team members, like strikes or battlegrounds. Activities best suited for solo players are time consuming. Story missions can often take half an hour or more to complete. Lost sectors require you to go into the destination to play them. And jumping into multiplayer activities as a solo player, for example, soloing a dungeon, can be stressful and take even more time than the activity would with a fire team. We identified a gap in our offerings, short activities that lone players can take at their own pace. So the solution: solo ops. Solo ops are activities aimed at short playtimes and manageable for solo players. They will be launching from the portal and have a target based play of 10 minutes. Each solo ops activity emphasizes the fun of Destiny's combat action gameplay, presenting players with straightforward objectives that focus on gunplay. Solo ops missions aren't intended to be intense tests of build crafting prowess or thumb skill. Instead, we want them to focus on the joy of playing in Destiny's action sandbox in a way that's easy to jump into and play in just a few minutes. So this is good. We'll get into the reward scaling and mission variety and stuff like that in a minute, but uh, this is good as somebody who often doesn't load into Destiny because I don't often have a lot of time, and especially during the week. On the weekends I can jump in for a couple hours and play or whatever, but um, I'm often wanting to do something in like 10 or 20 minutes, and I know there are things in Destiny that just don't take that time, right? They um a lot of these activities, like it said, like take 20-30 minutes sometimes, and the rewards aren't worth the time for me to put in that effort at the moment. So I think doing a couple solo missions, and obviously we'll get into reward scaling in a minute, but that seems more of a, hey, guess what, uh, you're 10 years older than you were when the game came out. Maybe your life has changed a little bit. Maybe your responsibilities have changed a little bit. Here's something for you. So yeah, I think this is a cool idea. I think it's also a cool idea for people who um, maybe newer players who are just jumping in and want to try to get used to some of the weapons. Or what else this could be good for? I know a lot of people have been asking for like a firing range. This could be something where people could go in and test weapons or crafted weapons, or you know roles that they found in dungeons or raids or other activities, right? So I think you're going to see a lot of people using items that they gotten throughout some of the in-game activities to test them out. Honestly, I think I think this is an ideal way to do that, especially since it's not skill based. It's more of a, hey, shoot some guns, have some fun, stuff like that. So, uh, Solo Ops will. Let's get into reward scaling here. Solo Ops will support scoring and challenge customization, like many of our other activities. As such, they will allow players to make incremental progress towards better and more powerful gear, and support customizing the difficulty of the activity with a wide variety of modifiers. You still want to play well in solo ops activities. Your score will contribute to the quality of your loot, but we're trying to construct these missions to get as good a score, so that getting a good wow. So getting that, geez, can I read today? But we're trying to construct these missions so that getting a good score is a matter of moving, shooting, and looting rather than being determined by what loadout and build you're bringing to them. So this is also good for obviously grinding towards gear, and you don't your fire team isn't on there to you know grind out a dungeon or a raid or something, and you don't feel like going through LFG because sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time LFG is a mess, and maybe you don't have a Discord community like ours that can you know help you out if you need it. So this is another cool thing that they're offering. Mission variety. Another goal of solo ops is to create activities with higher variability between plays. Since you'll be playing these missions as a way of making progress towards better gear, we are trying to make sure that they stay fresh longer and are making them less predictable in what content you see. For example, at this time, we're aiming to have each mission come with a variant for at least 2 combatant factions, each one with a unique objective associated with it. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So, jump in. Oh, there's a fallen mission. Oh, now the next one is Cabal. Oh no. So that's cool. Uh, because I mean, how many times have you how many times have you run strikes and you're like, man, I wish this was like different somehow, or maybe you get the variant right and you're like, oh man, I like the other one better, or something of that nature, right? I mean, how much more can you run Step X Prime, right? So yeah. Anyways, solo ops missions will sometimes come with optional goals that will only present themselves once you're in the activity, like the presence of treasure goblins or passageways to secret rooms opening where they are normally closed. We're also scattering random treasure chests throughout the activity and finding them while getting while wow and finding them will get you a bonus to your final score. One piece of activity tech that we've been working to build for these missions is dynamic enemy spawning system. These systems run behind the scenes, monitoring how well you're doing, how long it's been since you've been in combat, and how close you're getting to your objective, and then spawn squads of enemies when the system determines that you need to be challenged. Unlike our other activities, where enemy spawn cadence and locations are often very scripted, solo ops missions will spawn enemies at unpredictable times and from places where you may not expect them to be. I think that also adds a lot of variety to the missions, right? Because like sometimes you go through some of the missions and you'll be like, oh, there's no enemies here, and then the next time you run it, uh, there'll be a whole ton of enemies, I guess. So that'll be cool. That'll be cool to switch things up too. It'll keep it fresh. Um, Kind of reminds me of patrols, maybe a little bit of a patrol zone, a little bit. Man, if I can only talk tonight, that'd be great. Very, very tired. I think I've slept like 15 hours the entire week, so that's great. Uh, go to sleep, kids. Stay in school. All those words that parents say. I'm going to take a sip of this Red Bull so I can keep going. All right. Visiting exciting locations. Since solo ops are part of the core game that is free to play for everyone, we also want to take advantage of the fact that across the game there are many locations that are either not used in free content or underused, despite being a fun place to play. A lot of beautiful, exciting spaces will host only to single player story mission, and players have no reason to go to these places outside of that mission. Some, like the Saltsworks area in the EDZ, are currently entirely unused. These are awesome, unique Destiny spaces, and we think Solo Ops is a great venue to go back and visiting some of these places that may not have gotten as much attention as their craftsmanship deserves. That is true. We talk about that a lot on the show, where there are just some beautiful spaces in Destiny that are only used. I mean, I think raids are a good example, right? I mean, Deepstone Crypt is the first one that comes to mind, where like the spacewalk, right? Like you're up there, and it's just that's the only place it's used. Is in the raid. Or I think there's like a mission or two where you actually go up there, right? And that's it. So it'll be cool to see how they utilize some of these spaces. It'll be cool to see if they actually bring back some areas, just to put in here. So it'll be cool to see. Let's see. Solo ops missions will take you to spaces you might have visited before, but the new objective and dynamic enemy spawning system help make the experience both fresh and familiar. For many players, solo ops missions might be the first time you go to those locations, and we think that everyone should have a chance to experience these iconic spaces. Yeah, that's kind of what I just said, I guess. Overall, we hope that solo ops missions will be a good activity for players who only have a short amount of time to play, prefer to play by themselves, or are looking for a lower intense way to revel in the Destiny gameplay sandbox, as well as any combination of those three. So that'll be cool. I think this is a great add. I think only adding more to Destiny is a good idea. More variety, more interesting ways to explore the spaces, and also like more story is always a good thing, right? They're dropping lore and story into these missions too, which is always welcome, for me anyway. I love listening to the story. I mean, that's kind of the reason why I play Destiny for the most part now, is like I love the characters in the world and the story. I do grind sometimes when I'm like really into it, but like, right now with the episodes, I'm really only playing for the story right now. And if my friends are on, sometimes I'll jump on and play with them. But like, I'm not in it right now, like I was during the final shape. So, uh, now that the story is kind of over for Act One for Revenant, I'm just kind of like waiting for the next drop. And um I think if these solo ops have meaningful story, uh I want to check it out, right? This is a cool opportunity to add to the world without kind of interfering with the other content, right? Because some of the strikes and stuff have changed over the years. I mean, the strikes are kind of the same, but they've changed the story through them. And sometimes I miss the old story, because those are like the last remnants of the old content that was there, right? So, um, I mean, I know this game's always got to be moving forward, and I'm all for moving stuff forward. Uh, but it's also nice to see some of this old stuff pop back up. Um, so there are some frequently asked questions, which who, are they really that frequent if they are kind of just announcing this? Who's asking, right? Uh, I mean, I think they did make the announcement on Twitter, and there's probably a lot of questions on in those threads or on Facebook or wherever people are following Destiny these days. I hear Blue Sky is the new thing, so you can follow me there too. I have a Blue Sky account. I don't really use it all that much, but all these social media places keep popping up, and people keep fracturing off to different ones and realize nobody's following them, and then everybody just kind of folds back into Twitter. Stupid. It's stupid. Just pick a place and stay. Everybody needs to just put a poll on Twitter. Somebody, where are we going? Threads, okay. Uh, anyways, can you only play them solo, or can they be played as a fire team? So these are 3-player fire teams. However, you can play 2 people, 3 people, 1 person. So yeah. However, if you want to play with other people, fire team ops are going to offer the more efficient path to getting better gear. So yeah, fire team ops, which is kind of like the new Vanguard ops, I think. So will solo ops support matchmaking? No matchmaking. That's why it's called solo ops. Man, who's asking these questions? Will solo ops include champions, banes, specific modifiers? We haven't locked down any specific set of modifiers that we're going to support for solo ops. We can't just use the same modifiers as, say, strikes, because we're really aiming for a tight experience that solo players can enjoy, and we want to make the modifiers we allow don't push the missions away from that experience. We do plan to support banes as well, as we think they are offering an exciting way to increase the variety of experiences you have across multiple plays. So that's it for solo ops. I think this is a great idea to kind of just reiterate everything. But yeah, this is a great idea. I'm looking forward to more of this. I'm looking forward to this being implemented into the game. I'm really interested to see what the modifiers are like, and what kind of real way it can you can progress towards better gear in solo ops. I mean, I doubt it's going to be anything like a Grandmaster Nightfall or something, right? But I would think it's more than just like a oh, I got some blue boots that I'm going to infuse later. So let's dive in to this week's TWAB, or TWID as they are calling it now. Man, if Marathon bombs, you think they're going to go back to TWAB, or you think that's just going to cease to exist? When Sony fully takes over Destiny, you think they're going to keep the TWID? I'm just kidding. Bungie, I love you. Pulling for you. I really want you to continue to make Destiny, and I hope Marathon is good. This week in Destiny, let's see. We covered solo ops, so we're not going to be talking about that. Vespers Hope Dungeon race winners. So go listen to the Vespers Host dungeon review discussion, like I plugged at the top of the show. Really, really good discussion by Josh and Joasis about the dungeon. A lot of cool story implications in that dungeon. Ergo Sum is part of that story, so that's cool. And yeah, let's talk about this. I need to talk about let's see. This is the sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what's happening here. So we're gonna talk about this. Sorry, I'm just going through the twid here to see if there's anything I don't need to discuss that A, we either talked about, or B, is not important. Let's see. We had a very big launch last week with both Revenant and Vespers Host going live, but we still have a commitment with you all to share more about the future of Destiny. This is about Destiny 2 Codename Frontiers, our latest dev insight. So uh, let's see, what is this here? Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the solo op stuff. Yeah. Uh, I'm interested to see what else they have to say about that and how often they're going to launch something about Codename Frontiers over the coming months or almost a year, I guess, maybe. Uh, the thing is in the lower stacks. So this is about the dungeon. You shot the wrong panels. You forgot to dunk the buffs. Mini servitors blew you up. Radiation fried you, and those weird discharges from orange arc energy smote you. Smote like smited, like smite you at the worst possible moment, but you did it, Guardians. You defeated your foes and completed Vesper's Host. Not only that, but many of you did so in contest mode, our hardest challenge to date, and available for the first time during launch of a weekend of a dungeon. After verifications of the first completions with our security team, we finally ready to confirm the podium for Vesper's Host Dungeon Race. So first place was Tides Pine and Special Hero. Second place was it looks like a Japanese or Chinese team. And third place was Dragon, Grum, and Soto. So good job, everybody. We will celebrate their valor and skill with the winners bundle composed of a new Vespers Host bracelet and Vespers Host activewear hoodie, customized with their Bungie name. So I think this hoodie is cool. I wish it wasn't fully zip. I'm not a full zip guy. I'm not even a zipper guy. I just like to, put it on and let it hang. Let's see. The challenge for content creators. Let's see. 14 blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not gonna read all this. This is all things you can watch creators stream. So you can check that out at your own time. I'm not interested in that. Introduction to tonics. Let's talk about tonics. Tonics are interesting. They are very, very interesting, and I think they're gonna experiment a lot with these to maybe change the game in a drastic way sometime in the future. Maybe not immediately, right? Because I know Josh talked about it a little bit last week, but um, giving yourself a buff or something to that effect will really especially in stuff like Grandmaster Nightfalls and some of the harder content in the game. I think these are gonna really change the tone of the game, especially with the kind of the newer way you're earning weapons and that kind of stuff. There's a lot going on in Destiny now. They're going full on RPG here, and I know a lot of people are here for it. I am here for it for the most part. I think it's really exciting, some of the things they're doing. But let's talk about tonics. With the release of Remnant, we made all Act 1 story content available at launch so players can go through the story at their own pace. In addition to the main quest line, you also find additional stories to explore in the Tonic Laboratory. There you can not only learn new tonic formulas to brew more powerful tonics, but also unlock Ido's fieldwork offerings. If you're still getting the hang of how to master everything tonics have to offer, here's a quick rundown to help you along the way. The first thing you must know is brew common tonics to discover rare tonics, allowing you to brew tonics with more powerful effects than their lower quality counterparts. Brew rare enough tonics of different types, and you will start discovering legendary tonics. These uh, these not only drastically improve duration, but volatile tonics will now combine the effects with two tonics in one, and enriching tonics will improve the chance to earn more specific loot. So that's kind of cool. So very, the uncommon to rare to legendary kind of speaks for itself. I think we've been playing Destiny long enough that we know that kind of has the effect. I think the legendary stuff is really interesting, the way that they're mixing tonics and how you can kind of improve the chance at earning specific gear and that kind of thing. Complete minor field work to earn additional regions and rewards, and gain access to major field work. Completing major field work will unlock unique upgrades that improve your ability to brew tonics and collect regents. Upon completing all major fieldwork, Idle will offer special key fieldwork mission, sending you to receive a powerful device capable of brewing new tonics and permanently extending the duration of all tonics. That seems like a good thing, right? Extending the time that you get to use these is a good thing. You know what? This kind of reminds me of the way that cooking works in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You can kind of use those to your advantage, right? That's kind of what this is making me think of. And I'm sure everybody out there is like, no shit. But anyways, well, we have uncovered what you can get. We haven't uncovered where you can get the materials to create these potent potions, as the game will point you towards activities that reward these ingredients. Some of them are constantly rewarded while playing the game, while the rarest and most valuable will only be awarded by when completing or playing certain activities. Keep an eye on your feed and inspect your tonic capsule in the inventory to learn more about them. These are the basics of tonic brewing. Act 1, unlock tonics after another. One after another, drink them to empower yourself for a chance to earn specific loot and complete field work to keep the cycle running. So, yeah, tonics. I think tonics are an interesting addition. I think especially with the introduction to solo ops, like I think they're going to stick around for a while. I wonder how they're going to change and how they're going to improve over time. And I wonder if they're going to add things that are like, you can only use this specific tonic in Crucible. You can only use this specific tonic in PvE, or maybe these tonics are too powerful for raids and dungeons. You can't use these in here, right? The way that they kind of slash gear sometimes when they're broken, when it's broken. So yeah, that's tonics seem interesting. I'm here for it. Uh, I hope this isn't some half-baked idea that they're just gonna kind of let go. But it seems like it's working. It seemed like Josh really liked him last week, and it seems like our community kind of likes it. So, uh, yeah, I guess just talk about it, and maybe we'll talk about it next week and get all your insights on it. Just go to the Discord and leave it there. So I'm gonna take another sip because I'm running out of energy, right? So. Hmm. Delicious. All right, everybody. It's time to talk about Destiny Rising. All right, there's not really much to say. I know everybody's obsessed with the hot goth mommy warlock that you know, everybody seems to be thirsting over. Uh I'm very interested to see how this kind of relates to the main game. So it's come out that all right. Well, I'll just read this real quick. So Destiny Rising has their own Discord and their own Twitter handle and their own Instagram and all that stuff. Like it has all their own socials and everything, right? Which makes sense. But uh, so I registered for the alpha already. In case you haven't heard, Destiny Rising is the new free-to-play mobile sci-fi RPG shooter set in the rich tapestry of the Destiny universe and being developed and published by NetEase. It will deliver a brand new adventure set in an alternate Destiny timeline, where it also will also explore a narrative in the post-Dark Age era. So, the keyword there, the first keyword, the alternate Destiny timeline. I wonder where the timeline splits. And I wonder if this is, even though, because we already know there's timeline jumping in Destiny, right? We have Elsie, we have other characters that have been timeline jumping. Osiris has gone through the Infinite Forest, which is not technically timeline jumping, but it's timeline predicting. The Vex can they run simulations and theoretically can timeline jump and change the timelines and everything, right? And we know that Vault of Glass is time jumping. So I'm really wondering where this is going to split, and if it is going to be canon, right? I mean, I would imagine it's going to be canon to Destiny without affecting Destiny, the state in which Destiny is in now, right? Like, uh, but I imagine some of these story threads from this game will somehow make it into the lore and somehow make its way back in to Destiny, right? I really think that. I don't think that they are just going to let a random Destiny thing kind of roll out without it having some impact on the universe. I mean, we see Ikora in this trailer, right? Ikora's in here. I'm kind of scrubbing through the trailer. There are a lot of new characters here, though. What I have come to, what I am understand. So we also see like the Cosmodrome kind of area, right? Like there's all kinds of places here. New loot, new armor, new weapons. So the interesting thing here too, right, is it's seemingly you just played a light bearer before the formation of the Guardians, right? That's kind of it was either Paul Tassi or Bife kind of talking about this. I don't remember who exactly it was, but like it seems like you're playing as a light bearer before the formation of the Guardian classes, Titan, Warlock, uh, Hunter, like before they're really really fleshed out, right? I mean, obviously Ikora is here. She's clearly still a warlock. It looks like of some sort. Um, the kind of other character, the kind of gothic girl seems more like a warlock, right? But there are some new supers in here that people are kind of wanting in the main game too. Like that void scythe looks really cool. Uh, third person mode, which is like something I've been asking for Destiny for a long time because I actually prefer third person shooters over first person shooters. It would be really awesome if they implemented that into Destiny 2 in particular. There's a lot of Vex simulations in here. Uh, I wonder if we'll see old weapons returning to this. I wonder if you'll be able to. I don't know. I really am intrigued by this. I really want to know what's going on with the lore with this because that's kind of the main thing is how does this affect the lore overall? But it definitely this void super this warlock is using with the scythe looks rad. I would play a warlock all the time if that was one of the supers. And then there's like this big void launch cannon that people have been claiming for. Like it looks like one of those things in Halo that you used to carry around and shoot, grenades or the plasma grenades in Halo is kind of what it looks like. A lot of familiar locations. It looks like new versions of familiar locations. There's a new speaker. It looks like it ends with the image of this unnamed speaker in a floral gazebo underneath the tree of silver wings. But it also looks like there's a traveler shard in this scene. So I'm really interested in this. I really want to play it and just see what the story is like. First of all, they are. Let's see. Let's go to the website. Let's go to the Play Destiny uh, Rising website and see what they are actually adding here, because there's like a whole lot of things here. Uh, so I registered for the alpha. What is Destiny Rising? Let's go into this. I don't like that it has its own website. This is ridiculous. Ikora is like a lot younger in this. There's a cool looking Titan character with an eye patch. Uh, by the way, if you don't know who NetEase is, I think they definitely developed the Diablo Immortals. They developed the first Descendant, which everybody's playing right now, I think. And you know, this yeah, let's see. So I'm not gonna read all this because we kind of know what Destiny is. Uh Destiny Rising is a mobile RPG shooter featuring multi-character focused action and wide range of gameplay modes, all set within the Destiny universe. This means that you'll get to play as a growing roster of characters, each with their own unique playstyles, abilities, and gear that you will work toward leveling up and empowering by progressing through the main campaign storyline and a variety of activities, which we will break down. But first, a new story in an alternate timeline. So, Destiny Rising is set in an alternate timeline, many years before Destiny 1 and 2. This timeline allows for a different exploration of how humanity began to rise from the ashes of the collapse, when invaders from beyond the stars brought an end to what was once a golden age. The fallen deity, the Traveler, used its light to create ghosts who sought the fallen denizens of humanity and brought them back as light bearers, immortals empowered with unique abilities. The beginning of our stage, is set at a moment where humanity is putting behind these dark times and building the foundations of what will become the last city. As survivors seek refuge, they gather in outposts like Haven to build towards a better tomorrow and gather strength against the remaining threats on Earth. So, this is cool. I'm into it. Man, the alternate timeline thing is the thing that gets me. Uh, the unique setting provides an unparalleled opportunity to witness some of Destiny's most legendary lightbearers in their formative days. Not only will you see iconic figures like Ikora Ray, the Iron Lord Yolder, and youthful Kabir, but you'll also have a chance to play as them and other renowned heroes of yore. Okay, so it sounds like you're playing as established characters and not necessarily creating your own, which is very interesting. I almost wish these were like campaigns that you could play through that you could buy for like $30 or $40 and play through. In Destiny, um, I almost wonder how many people are going to download Android emulators and just play this on their PCs. Right? That's my first thought. That was my first thought. So let's continue. Uh This is an era before Guardians were fully defined, and the classes of Hunters, Titans, and Warlocks are not yet solidified. Each character comes with a distinct and unique playstyle, offering a fresh and immersive experience. In addition to familiar names and faces from Destiny 2, we have an expansive roster of new characters you can master, including many new Lightbearers whose legendary stories you can experience firsthand. At the heart of it all, heart of it all is you, the protagonist known as Wolf. Okay, so maybe you can play as your own character, which is interesting because I don't know. I don't know, man. This all right, so it looks like you can obviously create your own character and then play as the other characters as well. For the upcoming closed alpha test, which we'll discuss in detail later, you'll have the opportunity to experience gameplay with 11 unique characters. But don't worry, this is just the beginning, and many more characters are on the horizon that you will probably have to pay for. Let's see. Each playable character you unlock boasts a unique set of abilities and set of weapon types that they can use. Okay, so this sounds like the first Descendant is what it sounds like. Each Lightbearer has 2 weapon slots, one for primary weapons and one for power weapons. Each slot has an available weapon type and differs by playable character. For example, Wolf can equip auto rifles as their primary weapon and grenade launchers as their power weapons. You have a shared inventory between all characters, so you can share weapons you unlock between those capable of wielding the same weapon types. A relic. Relics. Each Lightbearer wields a unique relic that plays a great part in redefining their gameplay, capable of unleashing powerful supers, as well as their 2 signature abilities, in addition to a set of perks. For example, Kabir wields the Thunder Shield, granting him a shocking array of arc element attacks capable of blinding, as well as a sturdy shield that can block enemy attacks. Okay. So that kind of checks out a little bit, right? Because, this all seems very interesting so far, I guess. Along with some of the other classic game modes that Destiny players might already be familiar with, we also have many more new modes. Each is designed to provide different experiences and levels of challenge. Do you have a few minutes to kill? Then try jumping into Haven Ops Strikes. Looking for a greater challenge than Gauntlet Ops will put your raiding skills to the test. Okay. One of the most iconic aspects of Destiny is its PvE experiences, and Destiny Rising is no exception. You'll find classic elements such as campaign missions, destination free roam exploration, Haven Ops strike missions, and the raid-like Gauntlet Ops. Additionally, we've introduced exciting new modes such as like Morgren's Prey, Legacy, Realms of the Nine, and many more. I won't spoil the fun. I'll let you discover these for yourself in our upcoming closed alpha. Okay. So people were talking about raids and dungeons in this thing. So it sounds like Gauntlet Ops is I guess would be like the mobile equivalent of those, right? So maybe clearly you're not going to sit on your phone for 3 or 4 hours trying to figure out a raid, right? Like that's not happening. Your battery's going to die. You're not going to, it's just not going to happen, right? So it seems like they've found some sort of happy medium here. So I'm interested to see what that's all about. PvP. Wow. While our primary focus on the closed alpha is optimizing our core PvE experiences, we haven't forgotten about the competitive side. In our upcoming closed alpha, you'll get to experience our brand new competitive mode, Shifting Gates, uniquely crafted for Destiny Rising. Although it's still in the early stages of development, we hope you'll join us in shaping the exciting new experience. Okay, cool. I know PvP stuff is really, popular on phones. So if all this sounds like something you want to get your hands on, and we hope it does, then make sure you have pre-registered in order to stay in the know for all of our future updates, as well as getting a chance to participate in our upcoming pre-release tests. In fact, we have one coming up really soon, starting November 1st. We'll have our first closed alpha test for players in the USA and Canada. Follow this link to our closed alpha test facts for more. Okay, so that's it. Destiny Rising. PlayDestinyRising.com. You can go pre-register now. I already did because I just want to know what this thing is. Man, I have a lot of thoughts on this thing. It's really interesting. I wonder if this will make its way to consoles at some point, just as, a way to get people into the Destiny universe, right? Because like we all know that the new light experience really sucks, right? The new light experience sucks. And I think this would be a way to get people into the Destiny experience without, obviously, I was looking in like the Destiny Legacy collection right now, which is like everything up through the final shape, is like $180, like the collection, and it's on sale for $80 or something ridiculous. It's like what it's so expensive to get into, right? Destiny is so hard to get into, and I think this would be a great way because you're going back, right? You're going back in time, so you're not messing with anything that's going on. It's an alternate timeline, so as far as this moves forward, you're still not messing with anything that's going on in the main game. It just seems like the right game on the wrong platform. We saw what the first Descendant did, and that was a new IP, let alone something as established as Destiny, right? And I know you don't want to mix and match players, and I know you're trying to keep your console base happy and or your kind of main game player base happy. I say console because I play on Xbox, but PC also. And you don't want to do that, but like I almost wonder if this would make its way, and hear me out. I can feel everybody's eyes rolling. I can feel Josh's eyes rolling back down the back of his throat and out of his ass when I say this. But I almost wonder if this could fit on the next Nintendo console because Destiny is not there. And they have a lot of mobile games like this. Star Wars Hunters is something that you know, has been very popular over there. The mobile version of Apex Legends is over there and is pretty popular. And obviously the next console's coming out soon, and will be more powerful and hopefully have better internet connections and everything like that. And I wonder if something like this would fit there because that way you could have it on a console, you could have it on something that's on the go, but also not cannibalizing your current player base on console and PC. And you won't have to use a phone, and you can use a proper controller. So that I wonder how this is going to work. These weapons look cool. They look like they look very Tex Machina, honestly, uh, which makes sense, I guess, from the time that it's from, right? So uh, I think the key art looks really cool. I'm wondering, man, I'm almost wondering if this is like because it seems like everybody's going to have their own unique set of abilities that aren't clearly tied to specific classes because classes don't exist quite yet in this universe. So my biggest fear is the monetization, right? This is a free to play game. Now, granted, people played through Diablo Immortals and didn't spend a penny. Some people spent hundreds of dollars playing the game. That's gonna happen here, right? Like people are gonna play this entire game without spending a penny and be totally satisfied. And other people, like hardcore players, like our community, right? If they get into this, I mean, look how much money we spent on Destiny already, and that's a paid game, let alone a free to play game. So I'm concerned about the predatory monetization because I saw what the first Descendant did. and that was very predatory in a lot of ways. I don't know. I hope this is good. I hope it tells good stories. I hope the lore is really interesting. I'm interested to see alternate versions of these characters. Like Ikora, and obviously Yolder is an interesting character, and Kabir was, as a Titan, that's the first set of raid armor you get from Volto Glass is Kabir's armor. So Kabir, I don't know. I've always called him Kabir. I don't know. Uh, I'm very intrigued how this is going to work, and I'm interested to see what the Gauntlet Ops is, how they kind of mold a raid slash dungeon experience into a mobile experience. I wonder how many encounters it is. I wonder if it's puzzle heavy. I just wonder how they're going to do this. Uh, like I said, I think NetEase knows what they're doing. I think as a mobile developer, they're pretty competent in terms of developing a good game and a good looking game. I mean, again, look at the first Descendant. I think that game is a very good looking game, and I'm not just talking about all the girls with their jiggliness and everything, right? I'm talking about just like it is a really clean, well put together game. I think the shooting mechanics are good enough. Um, and they're not nearly as good as Destiny's, right? But I think they're good enough. Um, I think some of the things that they've implemented in that game are kind of interesting abilities and stuff. I only played it for a little bit, so I'm not like going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on it or anything. But I think their kind of quote unquote patrol quest zones could use a little bit of work, right? But um, yeah, this is interesting. I'm excited to see what's going on with this, and Josh and I will talk more about this next week, and I'm really interested to see more. I'm gonna check out this trailer again just to. But this is the dev uh, diary stuff, which is really interesting. It's really weird not seeing Bungie attached to this dev diary, right? Um, but sorry, I'm just looking at some of this stuff here, and the sounds of the stuff is distracting. There was something else. Oh, the official announcement. I don't think there's anything here that I need to go over. No. It's just it kind of goes into the legendary characters. All right, let's talk about some of these characters real quick. They are not listed here. Okay, it just said legendary characters in battle, and then it has a generic paragraph about characters, right? So, um, let's see. It looks like there are some really man, some of these armor sets are really cool. There's this like red looking exo character with spikes and kind of like a like like wire pipe dreadlocks. Looks pretty interesting. Um, I'm really wondering how this is going to work. It looks like there's like a giant hammer in the middle of the um European dead zone, right? Like just this hammer with like these giant rib cage looking thing almost. uh Looks pretty crazy. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is we're going to places we've never been before, right? Like that's really cool. um we're gonna see um the Sanctuary of Haven, which is our refuge, and kind of like, obviously their kind of tower equivalent, maybe more like the farm. The ancient metro of Jiangxi, which an arid expanse of the Red Sea Rift, traverse the diverse sci-fi biomes. There were other places that we're going to. I'm very and all this I think takes place. The entire game takes place on Earth, I think. So that's even more interesting. Um, that we're going to explore a lot of Earth and not just the other planets. I'm sure the other planets will come later, right? But really nailing these locations and figuring out where we're going and what we're doing seems really, really interesting. So I'm tentatively excited with a massive asterisk about how they're going to monetize this thing. Because if I have to pay for turns to play story missions, I'm not doing it. Right? I'll watch Bife's videos every week or whatever. Right? I'm not going to sit here and pay money to play this game. Because I don't want to sit on my phone. If I'm going to play something, if I'm going to play Destiny, I'm going to play Destiny. Right? I'm going to play on the TV. Unless this is incredibly amazing to the point where I need to buy a controller for my phone. But we will see, everybody. We will see. I'm very interested in this, and I know we have a couple questions about it. I will answer them when we get to questions, because I did not do my due diligence and put the questions with the topics. Because I'm a terrible host, and Josh is better at this than I am. Speaking of questions, let's go to questions. You can look for the podcast or the question thread in the podcast channel on the Tower Casuals Discord. We invite you to come join us. There are invites going out every weekend across social media and throughout the week and just follow at Tower Casuals on Twitter, Threads, and Instagram. You can join our Discord through those places. Our first question. Now, granted, if these questions don't apply, I'm going to save them for next week. And I will make sure to mark the ones that I did not read with a. Let's see. There's got to be like some sort of X in here, right? Right. There it is. A red X. Okay. So, getting in here. Jiggly Panda, what are y'all's thoughts on Destiny Rising? So I kind of just went over that, but I think it's a cool idea. I think an alternate timeline is an interesting idea if they do it right, and if they can somehow find a unique way of tying it back into the lore of, we'll call it the timeline prime, right? We'll just say that the prime line. uh, if they can if they can somehow get like someone like Osiris or Elsie or characters that we don't know, Maya Sundaresh even could be an interesting pool there, right? Like timeline jumping could be interesting. Even Micah 10 to an extent, maybe she's not super associated with the timeline stuff, right? But like if you're going to move forward with some of these characters, you should start implementing them into the lore, especially lore like this. Could be interesting. That's the thing I want, is I want really cool stories told in this alternate timeline that can eventually be folded back into the main timeline. Um, especially if you're doing character like Ikora is already an established character, right? And I'm glad they're using a bunch of new characters, or not new characters, new characters, right? Like Kabir and Yolder, because like we only know stories about them through the lore. We haven't really ever seen them. We haven't seen them in the game, right? I mean, I guess Yolder we saw kind of die in Rise of Iron, right? But like we haven't ever seen these characters in action, and to be able to play as them and play alongside them and see their stories kind of unfold in this universe could be really interesting. um even giving Ikora something to do finally is more interesting than the last 10 years of Ikora, right? So I'm really intrigued by the stories that you can tell. um I wonder how much of the new stuff in this game they'll be implementing into the main game also, right? Like a third person mode. I want a third person mode so bad, and I know PvP that won't happen because of PvP, right? Because, obviously, especially competitive stuff like trials, because they took the emote stuff out, they took this third person sword stuff out, and all this other stuff, right, to kind of even the playing field. So that's my thoughts on Destiny Rising. I'm intrigued. I will play it until it asks me for $100 to buy, credits for turns or tokens or whatever. I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm interested to see a real tree of silver wings kind of active and prosperous in this world, right? Like we've only seen one really, and we know that the Black Garden is on the stump of a giant one, so that's that could be an interesting thing too. uh, I wonder how like the gardener and the winnower will tie into this. I have a lot of questions, and I'm really interested to see how this alternate timeline works. So, also for Finn, what were your thoughts on the dungeon? So I don't know if he read this, maybe he did on the other one. So I'm gonna put a star there. I'm gonna put a heart here because I read that one. All right, so dealer, assuming hold on. I let me open up my vault here and tell you. Um, let's see. Um, I just want to make sure because I don't know the names of the weapons all that well. But I do want to talk about. I do have a couple, and I would like to talk about them. So let me talk about some of this stuff. Okay, so I um I did play a little bit of Gambit. I do have Bygones. I do like that weapon. I don't know if I'm as hot as on it as Josh is. Maybe it's because I've just been using Outbreak Perfected for so long that any other pulse rifle just feels like a Nerf gun at this point. But I do like it. I think it's got a lot of interesting perks. I have Zen Moment on it. I really like it. I like the I like the way it feels. I like the way it shoots. I like that it allows me to open up other slots for exotics because I cannot take Outbreak Perfected. I'm a dumb comfortable Destiny player, and I don't like that about myself. And if I had more time to play, maybe I would get myself out of that. But if I'm going to play, I want to be at my best, and I want to use the things that I know how to use. And so uh, that's where I'm at. But I like Bygones. Um, let's see. I have let's see. I'm looking. Hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. I promise. So I have a Wicked Sister, which is the heavy grenade launcher. I don't. I don't. I don't know. It's it's fine. It's okay. I don't really like heavy grenade launchers. I'm trying to look up stuff that I've gotten from Revenant. So uh it's okay. I'm really interested to kind of again test out other weapons because I'm terrible at testing out weapons. So I really that's kind of no, there's something else I have too. Hold on. Let me get to my character. Maybe that's where they're all at, right? So um yeah. Okay. I don't have icebreaker. Um, so I do. Um, So I do have Fair Judgment, which is the kinetic auto rifle. I don't have a great roll on it. I do like the way that feels though. I'm a big auto rifle guy though. Um, and I do like that it's a stasis auto rifle. Um, I really think I think it feels good to shoot. I like the cadence in which it shoots. I like the reload speed's not too slow, which is always like a big thing for me with auto rifles, right? So, um, you know, I'm really into that. So those are kind of the weapons that I've used so far. I'm really looking for a Chroma Rush. I really liked Chroma Rush when it was around the first time. I really want to get it back again. Um, let's see. I would really like to. Oh, let's see. What's this? Stay Frosty. I don't think that's available yet, is it? No, because it's delivering seasonal cheer. Okay, no, I don't have that yet. Okay. So those are the weapons that I've kind of been using so far. And I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really played a whole lot of Destiny in a couple weeks. We are going to have a weapons episode in the coming weeks, probably the week I'm out, because I'm going out of town at the end of November. Maybe Johnny will come in and talk about it with Josh, or you know, maybe Joyce's will come in again, or somebody else from the Discord. So we will have a weapons episode. Sorry, dealer. I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear. I know I'm not exactly the weapons guy, but here we'll put a mediocre face there. Uh let's see. Sorry, Fox, I'm not going to answer your question because I did not read the lore from the dungeon. So we're going to put an X there, which means I did not read it. Do you think we will go through the portal? So so the portal, okay. Um, so so from what I understand from the lore, I haven't read it. So I guess Fox, I'm going to answer yours and dealers kind of at the same time. Um, I answer in quotes, I guess, because I'm not really up on the lore. But from what I understand, this Vex portal seems to maybe lead to one of the planets that the Vex have a forge on. It seems like the Vex forge. Oh, Fox, you listed here. Volantis 3. Um, and so I think this portal could be something really interesting, but it's just like the portal that's God, what's that one strike that I hate so much with the big portal at the end on Europa? God, I am so bad with these things. But you guys know, Josh and I have talked about it before, and we actually thought the final shape we were gonna maybe jump through that portal at some point. But maybe it's one of those, right? And Destiny is no stranger to portals, right? So I think we could eventually go through that portal at some point. Um, I think a Vex something is needed. Maybe it's in Apollo, maybe it's in Behemoth. But I think this is how we get there. So we'll see. I'm interested. I'm excited to do the dungeon because I hear it's really cool. I hear it's great. Um, but yes, I do think we will eventually go through some of these portals that they're introducing. Uh, I think they're trying to figure out how and why and where. But Fox, I think your theory, I think your theory it works, right? So Tiger Jesus 64 writes in, since Icebreaker is back, do you see an incentive coming? Do y'all see see inventive coming back in an Ikora focus season? I think maybe you meant invective. I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel like they're still trying to figure out what to do with Ikora. I feel like Ikora is just like always cast aside for some reason, or I don't know. I mean, Ikora is clearly the focus of Destiny Rising now, so who knows? Uh, but I think it'll be. Man, I'm so tired. Okay, I think we will have an Ikora focused something in maybe in one of these seasonal drops for Apollo or Behemoth. Maybe this will be the focus of those campaigns, right? I mean, I think that would be a slam dunk for at least one of those, especially a Vex themed one, right? Like I don't know, I kind of feel that way a little bit. Um, Jiggly Panda, you just answered someone. I saw someone post this on TikTok, but do you think that Bungie hits the fucking button and bring back all remaining exotics and Wrath back? So I don't think it's that easy, right? I mean, game development is not like they can't just go into the No Land Beyond file and hit file save as Destiny 2, right? They can't just do that. They have to rebuild the weapon within Destiny 2 and they have to make it play nice in the sandbox, right? I mean, we never thought Icebreaker was going to come back and it did, but there's a huge asterisk next to it, right? They changed the weapon. It definitely does not play the same as it does in Destiny 1. And so I think you have to be very methodical about how you bring some of these weapons back, the remaining weapons. And I think for the most part, we have almost every weapon that's even remotely useful, right? I mean, what are you going to bring back? Fabian strategy? No thanks. Although that scout rifle for the warlock, the Talalik or whatever it was called, right? That's what it was called. The Amalon one was pretty cool. Um, I forget what the hunters got. Um, but I mean, look, man, I don't know. I think that you're going to have to move on. I think so many people are so stuck on Destiny 1 still. Um, I'm on the fence. I'm on the side of the fence where I think they need Destiny 3 at this point. Um, I know Josh is not on that side of the fence. I'm on that side of the fence. I think you need a cutoff point, right? The final shape is the perfect cutoff point to get new players in. And I don't know if Apollo and Behemoth are just, you know, band-aids to hold over until they can figure out what engine they're going to use and what consoles these are going to be on and what generations these are going to go across and how they're going to implement things, right? But like I am I'm in the camp that Destiny 3 needs to happen. And I've talked to some other people behind the scenes that also make Destiny content, and I know a lot of them are on the Destiny 3 train as well. But I I don't know. I think we got to move away from Destiny 1. A lot of my favorite weapons from Destiny 1, like I said, I use Outbreak Perfected constantly. It's one of the only exotics I ever use anymore in like PvE content, right? It's just so good, especially with the catalyst attached, right? But like I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what else is left. Uh, like I said, the Fabian strategy, Talalik, No Land Beyond. Um, let me see if there's a list, but I don't really think um Destiny 1 weapons not in Destiny 2. There's a right there. Um every missing this was from March. So let's see. Exotic weapons. So Abaddon, Boltcaster, Bullion Gemini. I mean, Dreg's Promise, Dark Drinker, Fabian Strategy, Hereafter, Icebreaker is back, Invective, Nemesis Star, No Land Beyond, Nova Mortis. Patience and Time was a cool exotic from Vault, right? I liked that sniper rifle. That was one of the only sniper rifles I ever used, really. Plan C, Pocket Infinity, I guess. Raise Lighter, super good advice. I really liked that weapon too at one point. Young Wolf's Howl, that was the sword, right? Universal Remote, Zen Meteor, Zala Supercell. I mean, we have what, Risk Runner now, so I think I guess there's a lot more than I thought there was, but I think there are enough. I think there are enough um, weapons that new weapons that either do a lot of these things and they do a lot of them better. I mean, there are some cool weapons here. I will admit there are cool weapons here that are not available, but like I feel like, man, I feel like this is just like this is the I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I think they need to be more creative and create new things for us. And I think that's the direction we need to go. I want new things in this game. I want something new to use and find and change and um I don't need to see No Land Beyond again. I don't need to see, you know, Universal Remote again. Zalos Supercell. It was cool, but we have Risk Runner. We don't need Zalos Supercell anymore. Patience and Time is a powerful sniper rifle, but we have Darcy, and there's very clear indications that they're going to buff Darcy soon at some point. And we just got Icebreaker back too, which I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's you know um we have Black or not Black Spindle, but the oh my gosh, that's another one that's not back either. Is Black Spindle, um, which isn't on this list. But like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just enough weapon variety now that I don't think we need to bring stuff back. That's my opinion. I know I'm in the minority of bringing back Destiny 1 stuff. As for Wrath of the Machine, yes, I would love to see Wrath of the Machine come back. I think that is a fantastic raid. I wish they would bring back all of the raids, right? Like, I think all the raids are worth doing. I think all the raids are worth having in the game. Um, no, and I think Wrath it's definitely not the best raid, right? But like, there's some interesting things there. They would have to change some things to kind of accommodate the sandbox at this point, though. In the story stuff specifically, because it revolves around Siva, and like, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you just don't. Maybe you just say, look, this raid takes place in a Siva filled, plague lands, and you only use this space for this raid, which some people are like, well, why would you bring that back and not just bring the plague lands? Like, well, they brought Venus back for Vault, but you can't go outside that area, right? Like, you can't go outside that area except for the Vault of Glass area. So I mean, you could totally do that with this. um I think you would have to find some a new exotic to put it in there too, though, because we already have Outbreak Perfected, and that was the exotic for this raid. um so I would love to see Wrath come back. uh so we'll see. I really liked that raid a lot. Man, I can't believe I've go. I every time I go for a solo show, I think it's going to be really short, and then I look at the clock and it's been an hour and a half. Is this how Josh feels every week when he just keeps going and going and going, and I'm like fixing things and looking things up and all that kind of stuff? Is that what's going on here? All right. Uh, let's see. Jiggly Panda. I read that, so we'll do that. Since they keep bringing back D1 weapons, do you think Bungie will reach the bottom of the barrel and finally bring back my favorite ad clear weapons a la Supercell? No! Risk Runner exists. Sorry, Stardust. I had to say that. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I loved Zala Supercell, especially in Rise of Iron. I loved that weapon. But I don't think they're going to bring it back because I think they think that Risk Runner serves that void, and I think that's what they think. So, um, Pocket Infinity, man. Tiger Jesus wants Pocket Infinity back. Stardust. Uh, so all right. So Stardust. I don't know if they answered this on the dungeon episode, but I'm not going to read it because I didn't run the dungeon, and I would feel ill equipped to answer your question about Vesper's host. I have not run the dungeon yet, but it seems like the mechanics and location is that of the Deepstone Crypt. Yeah, well, it's a Braytech facility in space, a derelict Braytech facility. So that's kind of, I think the lore behind it is more interesting than the setting, to be honest. Um, I don't know. I just feel like we spent a lot of time with Braytech and Beyond Light, and like I'm kind of just tired of Braytech stuff. As much as I love, the Bray sisters and like the story and all that kind of stuff of you know that whole thing, I don't think the aesthetic is that pleasing. It's just like a retro future robot facility, right? I mean, I don't know. That's not interesting to me. I think the Warmind stuff is more interesting than that. I think the Vex stuff is more interesting than that. I just don't think this retro future kind of aesthetic that they're going for with the tech stuff it doesn't do anything for me. Um, that said, I would be interested in running the dungeon because I do like Deepstone Crypt quite a bit as a raid, and I know the mechanics are, you know, I don't know if they're exactly the same, but they're similar, right? Uh, so I wouldn't mind doing that, and I think the armor looks cool. So I guess I did answer your question. Never mind. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna take that X back, and I'm gonna put a heart there that I answered it. Man, I answered all the questions. I didn't think I was gonna answer them all, uh, but I kind of did. Kind of proud of myself, and I'm proud of you guys for making a community that supports each other and plays together and runs all these things together. And I need to be more active, and I say that like once a month at least. But I appreciate everybody out there who listens to the show and is part of the Tower Casuals community. But with that said, I'm going to get out of here because I actually have another show to record in about 10 minutes. So thank you guys for listening, and ladies. Thank you all for listening and or watching this episode of Tower Casuals. You can follow us at Tower Casuals. If you're interested in other video games, I would invite you to join the Boss Rush network Discord community where we talk about a lot of indie games and a lot of other games besides Destiny in there. I have a bunch of other podcasts that you can listen to. You can check out Xbox Casuals, which is the podcast Josh and I do. The other podcasts that I do are the Boss Rush podcast, which is a podcast about video games, Nintendo Power Block, which is a Nintendo based podcast, Boss Rush Plus, which is kind of houses our video game book clubs and interviews with developers and creators and a bunch of other stuff over there. We have a show called Boss Rush After Dark where we talk about anything but video games, and everything is on the table. And I mean, everything is on the table. So you can check that out. We have a show that's been on hiatus for about a year called Standard Definition, where we talk about old movies and TV shows and stuff like that, which we are planning on bringing back at some point. And I hope Josh will be involved in that, especially on the comic book movie side of things and some of the other kind of pop culture stuff that I'm not great at. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to plug for now. Uh, join Tower Casuals Discord, Boss Rush Discord. Boss Rush does have a Patreon, but we are trying to figure out what to do with Tower Casuals and Xbox Casuals in terms of that Patreon as well. Because you guys are a big part of our community, and we want to provide extra stuff and see what we can do. So, anyways, I'm going to get out of here. You can follow Josh at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. You can follow me at I am Corey HD. Follow at Tower Casuals on social media for updates on episodes and Discord invites and other podcasts. You can follow my other podcast at Boss Rush Network and at Boss Rush Podcast. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.